that Tuesday, there would be no vetting. That Wednesday, there will be no vetting on Wednesday. Life is all about give and take. As a result, we are not able to vet any nominee on Wednesday, and then we use the Wednesday to deal with the issues pertaining to Mr. Oliver Baka Vamawa. Though we closed early because of the decision that there was not going to be vetting, we then used the period to task the clerk with the responsibility to merge that Wednesday with Thursday. The nominees that are to be vetted on Wednesday that we couldn't do, she should merge it with Friday. And then let's look at the number. Now the number became 8. And at a meeting, we've decided that if on average we have to use 2 hours on one person, then that would have been 16 hours of sitting. It would have been too much, given the fact that some people may be vetted within 1 hour. We agreed to do the first 6. First, it was the first 5. Then I received a call from Honorable Minority Leader that he is okay, we can add a candor to be taken on that day. Therefore, 6 people were programmed to be taken. Then there was an agreement that the backlog, being the 2, should be added to the following day, which is Friday. And if we are not able to exhaust, then we can take a decision whether we are coming on Saturday or it should be Monday or Tuesday. In fact, this has also brought in Honorable Mahama Ayariga, the leader of the House. And he even came out to say that clearly we need to negotiate the Saturday because Saturday is not a working day. So therefore, if you are not able to finish on Friday and we cannot come on Saturday, then probably Monday or Tuesday will be the next available date. So I was surprised that in the morning of that Thursday, the clerk came to me to say that instead of what we have agreed upon, she has received a text message from the minority whip in the person of Anodompre, which text message she showed to me that we are only going to do 4. That is why I have a difficulty. You agree on one thing, then behind you want to do another thing. I wasn't comfortable. So I just told the clerk that whatever we agreed upon, that is what we are going to do. So on that Thursday, we had programmed to start the first person at 9 o'clock. I came to office around 8:30. About 8:45, I received a call from the assistant clerk to the effect that he had received a call from Honorable Anodompre that there will be a caucus meeting of the minority. Therefore, instead of 9 o'clock, we should again start proceedings at 10 o'clock. For me, as a member of parliament, you may not have control over a caucus meeting. So when they are going to have a caucus meeting, I have no problem about it. So I have decided to walk to the chamber. Then on my way to the chamber, I met few MPs from the minority side and asked, I understand you are having a caucus meeting. Are you not attending the caucus meeting? Only for me to be told that there was no caucus meeting. So 10 o'clock, I have decided to start the vetting. And when they walk in after I have started, I told them in a plain language that I do not like the seat. We are all members of parliament. If you have a challenge of a caucus meeting, I would agree with you. But a situation where you do not have a caucus, but you deceive me in order to delay the proceedings of that day, to say that you have a caucus meeting, I won't take it kindly. And that is not the way we should be going. The response was that if they mean caucus meeting, it doesn't mean the entire minority caucus. As if I do not know the meaning placed on the caucus in our own standing orders. I took it in a good faith, and we were proceeding. I was surprised after vetting the Minister for Transport. Based on the agreement, I asked the Minister designate for Health to take his seat. It was there that I realized that we are tired, we will not do Honorable Akando. Akando will not be vetted today in a very rowdy manner. Based on my posture, I was engaging the minority leader to the effect that you said you are comfortable for Akando to be taken today. What has changed? What really has changed? Mostly the response will be that it is not me, I am under pressure. It's not me, I am under pressure. I'm also a politician, I understand. So I was making an attempt to persuade them that in view of the fact that Honorable Akando had to bring the chiefs and opinion leaders from Juaboso, and he being the last person, there are instances where vetting of the committee will end at 10, 10:30, 11. And this is just getting to about 8 o'clock. So we could accommodate and take Honorable Akando for that day, so that the rest of the two will be shifted to the following day. And if we are not able to finish the following day, then we could consequently adjust ourselves and finish the following week. Then what I realized was that whilst that negotiation was ongoing, I heard the minority leader requesting that they should call some people into the vetting room. And in no time, they started walking to the vetting room. And that very day, minority leader was so harsh to the deputy, second deputy whip, Jerry Ahmed Shaib. I intend not to repeat the words inflicted on him that very day. So I realized that they were under some kind of instruction from their leader to do certain things. Honorable members of the committee, let me place on record that there are some instances where my ranking member will ask their side that they should all stand up and put on the microphone. And by putting on the microphone, all other microphones will be disabled. And you cannot do anything when all the microphones were on. So to some extent, I do not really understand what they want. Because, honorable members, by my level of tolerance and the way and the manner I have accommodated them, sometimes I do not expect it to be treated in a particular way.
So, Chairman of the Appointments Committee, Bernard Ahiafo, telling us what behind the scenes issues and then the subsequent, disturbances that ensued at the Appointments Committee. Now, the lady who, for want of a better word, became the star of the moment, the clerk to the committee, Gifty Jage Goba, has also shared her account of the incident. Remember, she was accused of being partisan and playing to the wishes of the NDC group on the Appointments Committee. Now, she expressed shock over what transpired that day. We can listen to her.
I have watched the video you have shared, and it is a true reflection of the one who took the video from the position that he stood or she stood. On that fateful Thursday, from the video you shared, we had commenced proceedings, and the proceedings were disrupted, and the members went into a conclave in the Director of Protocol's office, and they agreed on how to proceed. But before that commencement of the meeting, I'd had various instructions. Aside what the chairman gave, the chief whip also called and sent both voice notes and texts, which I communicated same to the chairman. And after that, the committee went into a conclave. And so we started the proceedings.
Sorry.
Someone else's mic. Yes. Sorry, I'm just trying to ascertain which chief whip, majority or minority chief whip?
Minority, Honorable Anodompre. He sent text and voice notes in addition. So after the Honorable Nikpe was being taken, we realized that there was so much chaos going on, and as a clerk to the committee, it's my duty to keep order and make sure things are done properly. And it was brought to my attention that one of the doors has been ruptured, and because it was a glassware, I quickly informed the marshal about it. But in the process, I felt within myself, as a clerk, you have your ears and your eyes, and you are watching, you could sense. So in my spirit, I wasn't feeling right. And so I yielded to the Holy Spirit to call my boss, the clerk. So I called the clerk, pleaded with him that wherever he is, he should please come to my aid, because what is happening is beyond my control. He indicated to me that he was at the center of the former clerk, and he's really in the tight corner, but looking at my pleading, he would try and come. Within a matter of 5 minutes, the clerk was here with his usher. So I excused myself in the midst of the proceedings of Honorable Nikpe and went into the adjacent room where I had instructed my secretary to provide tea and coffee to the honorable members, because it was way beyond sitting hours and we hadn't prepared for dinner. And so I briefed my boss, the clerk to Parliament, about what was going on and what I had sensed, that it looks like we may have some disruption. So I was in there when my secretariat signaled to me that the chairman is calling me to swear in Honorable Akando. And Honorable Akando was seated in this seat. So I rushed through where the cameras were through the door and came in and stood by my chair. I didn't hear the directive, I was told. So when I came, I was looking at the chair. What is the directive? Waiting for prompting. But then my boss, the clerk to Parliament, was also there. And then the insults and disruption started. You have asked that I shouldn't go into that, so I went. And so I was shocked. I was still standing. If you look at the video, you could see the shock on my face, and I was like, what is going on? And so I was comforted, and I was resolute, seeing my boss at the end trying to calm the two leaders. And so I sent one of my secretariat ladies to seek guidance from my boss, who is the clerk to Parliament. At that point, there was, so much disruption. There was scuffles going on this side where I was. Over there, members were, there was so much screaming here and there. The chief whip came to my side. Some of the majority members came to my side that I should swear, I should let the nominee take the oath. And I pointed to them respectfully that my boss is standing right here. It is in his shoes that I step in. And so if I don't get indication from him, I am not going to take order from anybody. And so they kept, screaming at me. I should let the nominee take the oath. My minority leader was also screaming and hailing. I don't want to go into it because you've asked me to, so we've all watched the video, and the video is there to speak clearly. And so at a point, I got hot, so I started fanning myself, and I took a seat. And all that you saw in the video transpired. At the tail end, when the majority leader was trying to engage both, I got 3 calls and a message from my dear husband instructing me to leave the premises immediately. And that's order I took and I'd heard and I left. I exited through this door and went to stand in front of the clerk's office waiting for him to inform him of my leave to go home because my husband, my dear husband, has requested me to come. And so,
okay. We are getting indication from the Clerk of Parliament that I want to put on record.
Right, so that's the account of the clerk to the appointments committee. And then when we're expecting other people to also be called to testify before the committee, the chairman of the committee, Emmanuel Bejo, announced the suspension of the committee, citing a directive first from the clerk and then from the Speaker of Parliament. So what now becomes of the committee? Are they still going to go ahead and sit and hear more, testimonies from witnesses that they've called to provide evidence? Let me take you to Parliament now. And we'll also be speaking to the Deputy General Secretary of the MPP, Haruna Mohammed, because we are told that the MPP directed its members on the committee to leave and not to further cooperate. But let's start with the surprise turn of events at the first hearing of this committee. Is it the case that the work of the committee has come to an end?
Well, as Madam Jagi Goba was making her testimony, you heard the chairman interrupt and say that on the instruction of the clerk to Parliament, they have been asked to suspend work that they are doing until further notice. And so, despite having started one this morning, having heard from nearly 10 witnesses, particularly members of Parliament from the NDC side, they were expecting to continue and hear from more of the NPP MPs and other persons. But as we speak, that work of the committee has been suspended until further notice from the instruction of the clerk. Also, later on that, we had a conversation with the chairman of the committee, who explained, among other things, that the minority leader had instructed his members on the committee to leave. And there are 2 MPP MPs on that committee, who have been at the committee all morning asking questions, as well as the former Minister of State at the Finance Ministry in the person of Madam Abdel Shayasari. Abdel Shayasari has not been at the committee today, but given that the work was ongoing with he was later asked to withdraw by Alexander Afenya-Martin from the committee. And not only that, Alexander Afenya-Martin, the minority leader, has also again instructed all NPP MPs not to attend to the committee and offer any testimony. We haven't gotten any explanation yet for why that may be the case, but the order is clear from the minority leader that his members should leave the committee, and also that his members should not go to the committee to probe. And so all of this culminating in the suspension of the work of the committee until further notice. The Speaker of Parliament himself has traveled after the council has we've been made aware this afternoon. It is the first Deputy Speaker who is presiding over Parliament currently. And so when the Speaker of Parliament returned, or perhaps even outside, he may give consequential direction as to what exactly should happen with regard to this probe. But the trigger has been Alexander Afenya-Martin withdrawing his members from the committee, but also instructing his members not to testify at this special committee.
So no reason has been assigned for the Speaker's decision for the committee to suspend its investigations.
Yes, officially we haven't heard from the Speaker or any person assigned by him to speak. But of course, it will be reasonable to connect the dots and conclude that it may be because of the direction that has been given by the minority as regards to its members of the committee and those who have to come and testify. In our subsequent interview with Mano Bedra, he explained that he had been trying to reach the Speaker of Parliament, but the number was unreachable. Obviously, now we know that the Speaker had traveled at the time, and that is why his local number that Mano Bedra had wasn't going through. But now we await officially the Speaker of Parliament's correspondence and decision as to what exactly should happen with this committee.
Let me find out from you. I mean, on the day of the event, you were in Parliament, and I understand it is the reason why you've also been invited to provide some testimony. That is, in future, if this committee work is to progress. But we've seen videos in circulation pointing accusing fingers at the chairman of the committee that he was actually involved in the skirmishes. I don't know whether this has come to the notice of the chairman and the committee member. Could this be the reason why the suspension is in force?
Well, we will get to know some of these details in the coming days and in the coming hours. As regards to the role and involvement of the chairman himself, not much has been said. In fact, he has taken his turn before the committee played the instead. He has explained specifically what his role was, what he knew, what exactly might have happened by way of what he knows and what he has learned. He has put that information before the committee.
Yeah, so
not technically detailing whether or not he played any role in the ensuing conflict or the chaos that we saw. He has only explained that the skirmishes might have been on the instruction of the minority leader,
right,
who he says asked his whips to bring in more members of.
All right, we appear to be losing Kwaku along the way. We'll go back to Kwaku if there's development on this matter. But let me bring in the Deputy General Secretary of the NPP, Haruna Mohammed. So Haruna, I'm sure you'll be able to tell us the reason why the NPP members on this ad hoc committee have been asked to step down from this particular role. Why?
First, foremost, I say good afternoon to your cherished viewers and yourself. It's been a very good day for us. It's an era where the NPP in Parliament is fighting against unconstitutionalities that is happening, fighting against bureaucratic tendencies, fighting against autocratic leadership, fighting against what is not right. This is what the NPP leadership in Parliament is fighting on behalf of the National Party. As issued by my boss yesterday, the NPP National Party is with the minority. We stand with them, we share with them, and we agree with them in totality, whatever decision the minority takes in Parliament. I am not a member of Parliament, and I'm not a lawyer, but I do know that when it comes to committees of such nature, the Speaker ought to have discussed with the leadership of Parliament. Such discussions did not come on. As to who goes to those particular committees, a discussion with conclave, as in the leaders, will have to be taken. In this particular instance, the Speaker unilaterally took the decision to select whoever he thinks to be part of the committee. I think that so much as he's a Speaker of Parliament, he must also be very mindful of the rules of natural justice. We need to get involved, we need to discuss, and we need to build consensus. And that is why we went against the decision of the Speaker. We pointed to the Constitution of the Republic of Ghana, we pointed to the standing orders of Parliament, and I believe that yesterday, his decision to rescind on proceeding on the suspension of these honorable members of the House was in the right direction. I believe that we must all build consensus. We must refer ourselves and defer our judgment to the Constitution and the rules of the game. And I believe that once this consultation is not there, it is absolutely right by the minority leader to ask our members not to sit on that particular committee. We did not have any consultation. When I was informed about this particular interview, I tried as much as possible to get the minority leader informed and to get to know what exactly occasioned that. But before then, we have had discussion on this particular matter, and the minority leader has indicated to the National Party that they were not consulted. The leadership were not consulted. It was the decision of the Speaker, and the Speaker so selected whoever from the minority side to be represented. And there is a saying that you can force the horse to the riverside, but you can't force it to drink the water. You've mentioned their names. It is left with us to allow them to participate or not. We are not against the committee, but our participation is solely the decision of the minority, and the National Party support the minority on this particular matter.
Your argument is that the Speaker should have allowed the minority side to decide who should be on the committee, not the other way around, where the Speaker now decide the composition.
Speaker should have consulted leadership on both sides. The Speaker did not consult leadership on both sides, just as he came out and make his own judgment on the suspension of the 4 members of Parliament. That was the same unilateral decision he took. And based on the precedents and based on proceedings in Parliament, when such committees are coming, and as a result of such happening in Parliament, leadership of Parliament should have been consulted and a discussion around to get to select these members, not necessarily to allow minority to select for them, but there should have been a discussion on that. Remember, we have been fighting the unilateral decision of the Speaker. And this one is part of the unilateral decision that he took. But
Haruna, my concern is that, I mean, why didn't the leadership of the minority draw the Speaker's attention to this, wait till the committee started work, heard some people, and then midway, I mean, the directive came that all MPP members on the committee should leave?
I think the minority leader pointed this matter to the Speaker. He pointed this matter clearly to the Speaker. You know, there has been meetings upon meetings after when this chaos happened in Parliament. And this particular matter was pointed to the Speaker through the minority leader. And I believe that it's not everything that is discussed on plenary, but I know that this has been discussed by the minority leader to the Speaker of Parliament, and he did not pay any heed to that. And we complain bitterly on this particular issue, and I think that the minority has the right to do so. And the minority not sitting on the committee is not a prohibition of the committee to proceed. The committee can proceed, but we only have the right to protest, and that is why we have not chosen to have violent protestation. We always have peaceful protestation, and that is what defines the New Patriotic Party in our formative values and core values of the party.
There are those who are of the view that because of what happened in Parliament yesterday, where the minority leader, Alexander Afenyomarkin, read the statements and asked the Speaker to temper justice with mercy, the Speaker heeded that call and then lifted a suspension on the 4 MPs. The leader went ahead to also apologize to the Clerk of Parliament. Some are saying that because of what happened on the floor yesterday, there's actually no need for the committee to continue to sit. Where do you stand on this?
I think that, first of all, the suspension was an illegality. So the Speaker ought not even to have left, because it was a happening on illegal stance. So I did not see any suspension. I saw an autocratic suspension or an autocratic direction, of which was confirmed by the current Interior Minister, who said that he has never seen an autocratic leader than Albert Sumana Bagwe. So it was just an autocratic decision. It was not binded on any constitutional value or any standing orders of Parliament. So for me, I believe that people may read meaning to that. And you know, based on context, you may be defining certain matter that, based on your understanding and context, you may also define that. Yes, if it is true that this is what people are looking at and analyzing to be, I think they are also right. But for me, where I sit, I don't believe that there was any suspension, because I cannot. I am a Ghanaian. I'm a Ghanaian, a very pure Ghanaian, and I believe in the standard of the Ghanaian citizenship. And I think that what happened and the decision of the Speaker was a decision that was built on illegality. And I don't think that there was any suspension. I have spoken to your media house on this particular matter, and I would not give merit to such a suspension. But
my final question before I let you go, listening to the chairman of the Appointments Committee, Bernard Ahiafo, he makes reference to an interaction he had with Alexander Afenyomarkin, the minority leader, where, according to him, The Honorable Alex Markin told him he was under pressure from the party not to go ahead with the vetting. At the time, the Lands and Natural Resources Minister designate had taken his seats. To what extent is the MPP as a party micromanaging your caucus in Parliament to the extent that you can get them to, stay away from government business?
I think that if you look at the leadership of Parliament on the minority side, they are built up, they are adults on their own, they are leaders on their own, and they know that they are representing a liberal democratic party, a conservative party, a party that believes in individual liberty, a party that believes in the foundation of rule of law. And that is why they can take a decision whatsoever, because in the selection of these particular leaders, we know and we believe that these are leaders that will look into your face and tell you what is right. What was the reason why these leaders left the vetting room? The reason was that an agreement that was reached to be vetting 3 people on that particular day was worked and altered by the clerk of Parliament, the clerk of the committee. They agreed and added 2 members more onto the vetting. They dealt with the 5, and it was 10 p.m. They brought these particular persons to also be vetted in bad faith. They brought it through the back door, and the leadership of the minority disagreed and protested again and protested. It was not a violent protestation.
But it led to some violence.
Yes, no. It was they were confronted with violence from the majority, where you saw the whip from the majority side, who walked with violent posture and approached Honorable Hassan Tampuli. I'm a Dagomba man by tribe, and I believe in my strength, and I believe in my culture. Honorable Tampuli as he is, and me, if I see such a violent approach, I have the right, through the Constitution of the Republic of Ghana, to defend myself. And that is why the Dagombes have been known. We are never cowards. We stand and we stood by everything that is right. And Honorable Tampuli, a lawyer by his stature, had to defend himself because there was a violent approach from the whip, from the majority side. And that is why he defended and challenged him, told him that he is not one of those that can be cowed, that can be spoken to, or that can be intimidated. And I believe that these are the category of people we need in this country. And that is why I commend Honorable Tampuli for standing and proving to me that we are colleague Dagombes. Though I come from Zabzugo, he come from Gushogo, we can always light up the spirit of the Dagomba in us. And I believe that he did the right thing by defending himself. And that is why he did not knock him. He did not. He only defended himself and make sure that he did not do anything that goes against the Constitution of the Republic of Ghana. So as I believe that it is violent confrontation that the Constitution frowns on, but the Constitution never frowns on protestation, to protest.
So as you speak, as far as this committee work is concerned, your side, they've closed the door on any kind of cooperation?
For us, in the first place, what happened in Parliament on the 30th with regards to the minority side, it was an action in bad faith from the majority, where they needed to have built consensus. And that is why I commend Honorable Mahama Ayaraga. Honorable Mahama Ayaraga from the chamber in the plenary moved into the vetting room. And when he went in with a discussion to reach consensus. He did not behave like the leadership of NDC that was in the chamber. He did not behave like that. I commend him. And I'm very proud that Honorable Ayaraga, coming from the north, do understand that respect is reciprocal. If you don't reciprocate and you want to do things in gerrymandering way, remember that others are also built up and there are several strategies to a solution. And that is why I commend Honorable
So I asked whether you are still open for, I asked whether the side is still open for discussion on the composition so that your members can join to bring finality to this matter.
Why not? For us, we are always ready for discussion because It is country Ghana we are all working towards. We must reach consensus and get better things done, rather than to look at absolute numbers and say that you can do whatever you want.
Okay.
You know, the Ghanaian that we know, you see, Ghanaians voted in 2020 to give us a hung parliament. They saw what happened. Ghanaians went again and voted massively and gave a particular party with a wider margin, where the Ghanaian citizen is also watching. Tomorrow, the Ghanaian citizen can vote an opposition party to be the majority,
right,
and vote a ruling party to be the minority. The Ghanaian citizen is watching, and they have started with the hung parliament, and they have continued with a wider margin, and they will continue for a day that a government will look at a majority in the opposition and get to understand that the Ghanaian citizen is testing the constitution and testing the temperament of the good people of Ghana,
right,
who represents us in the House of Parliament.
Well, we'll leave it here. Haruna Mohammed is a Deputy General Secretary of the governing MPP. The news this afternoon is that the MPP side on the committee set up by the Speaker to probe the disturbances of January 30, they've withdrawn their membership. The committee itself work is now under suspension until further notice, but will stay a little longer in Parliament because the same minority, the MPP caucus, is urging the International Monetary Fund, IMF, to avoid engagements with the acting governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Johnson Esiama, who they contend has taken the office in an irregular manner. The MPP says government recent withdrawal of all charges against Dr. Esiama, who was previously facing trial in connection with the collapse of Unibank and UT banks, as well as the process leading to his appointment, has been questionable. The minorities questions his credibility to serve as a lead negotiator with the IMF under these circumstances. Addressing journalist Dr. Gideon Boako, the Member of Parliament for Tana North, stated that an individual who was a potential criminal convict should not be permitted to oversee the central bank.
For a government that is built from a party which purports to be lovers of probity and accountability, we firmly believe that President Mahama should allow the charges against Dr. Esiama to stand, even as he carries his duties as a governor when he is finally approved. The action by the President gives us cause to believe that Dr. Esiama is not clean. This silly attempt to discontinue the proceedings of the criminal charges against Dr. Esiama is the more reason why we think he, Dr. Esiama, a potential criminal convict, should not be heading an important and sensitive office as the governor of the central bank. It is even more crucial at a point where Ghana is under an IMF program and requires absolute credibility in our dealings with the IMF. We ask, how would the IMF and the International Finance Corporation see Ghana if one of our lead negotiators is perceived as a potential criminal convict charged with various acts of criminalities? Won't it be proper if these international agencies or bodies have the assurance that we are allowing the court processes to run for proper adjudication and judgment? Would the decision to discontinue the court processes not lay credence to any suspicion of cover-up for Dr. Esiama and hence affect the image of the central bank and Ghana at large? What at all is the president afraid of, for which reason he has abruptly withdrawn the charges against Dr. Esiama? Ghana stands to suffer huge global reputational risk if Dr. Esiama is approved as the central bank governor without the acquittal or an attempt to secure acquittal of the criminal charges from a court of competent jurisdiction. We wish to draw the attention of the International Monetary Fund, IMF, to these disturbing developments from the government and call for strict scrutiny in their dealings with Dr. Johnson Esiama, such that his actions or inactions do not lead us to any inconvenient destination as far as the financial ecosystem is concerned.
So let's bring in Dr. Richmond Tuahine. He is a banking consultant. And Dr. Tuahine, good afternoon and welcome to the Pulse. We've not been told why government has discontinued the case against Dr. Esiama, but is the MPP side justified in this call that there should be some kind of slow approach as far as the IMF is concerned to a current governor of the central bank? Good afternoon, Dr. Tuahine, if you can hear me.
Yeah, good afternoon. Okay, good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Great, great. So I was saying that we've not been told why government has discontinued the case involving Dr. Esiama. That reason has not come yet. And now he's the governor as we speak. Now the minority is raising issues. They are saying that somebody who was facing trial and was a potential convict should not lead our negotiation with the IMF. Is this call justified?
I think what people are refusing to appreciate is that, you know, when the president nominated him, he said he's been nominated until the Council of State has been put in place. Then they will confirm him and he'll be the governor. So who are saying they cannot deal with him? Let me give you a typical example. Let's assume the three governors, the two governors or three, one of the governors passed on. Can we say that we won't deal with the IMF? You can't say that. Because, you see, IMF know that it's a process. It's going on. Dr. Addison has left. The second one has gone. So do you want the place to be vacuum? No. I mean, he can be going to the office having an oversight, but he's not going to say documents. But you see, until he is confirmed by the Council of State, he will be there supervising what is going on, taking information, dissemination, telling the president, the Minister of Finance, what is going on there. You can't leave it. You can't leave it there. You can't leave that nobody is there. It is never done anywhere. So that's why President said that he has been nominated. And then the Council of State will confirm him, I think in 13 days' time when the Council of State is set up. He will confirm him. So the question of the case coming out or not, that other case, is it the previous government who refused to prosecute it or not? I mean, what people should know is that it came to a time that those who were prosecuting him could not even come to court to defend their position. Let me tell you the information. So that case, for instance, for almost 1 year, nothing has been heard of. Why couldn't their former Attorney General pursue it to its recourse? So, I mean, people should be more circumspect that there are transition periods in this, and we should let it go on. Other than that, we will sit in, and IMF wouldn't continue because they have to speak to somebody or they have to give data to somebody.
Right.
And then the data must go to the president. So let us not politicize it because it is, we have been in a bad situation. Let me make it clear. Those who are saying that, who brought us to this position? Who brought us to this position? A country is owing 66 billion. You have restructured only 45 billion. And instead of you keeping quiet to let us see how we'll go around it, people are just making noise. I call it noise. Because we have destroyed the country. Now, there is a changeover. Instead of we would all stay calm to see how we will solve the debt overhang and the various things that we are facing. Then we are fighting on issues that are not most important. The president said, I have nominated him. And the former governor has gone to tell the president that I'm exiting. Do we mean that we leave the seat with nobody there?
But the argument...
I don't see no organization would behave like that. So let us all stay calm and let us be putting arguments logically so that it doesn't become so politicized. The president said, I have nominated him. Exactly. And until he's confirmed, then he will say he's been appointed. There are two things.
But Dr. Tiahine, those who are asking questions and saying that this man was before court, and then the case has been discontinued. The reason has not even been provided. So it is unclear whether he is complicit in the allegation against him or not. Yet government says, I'm no longer interested in pursuing this matter. And so this Dr. Isiama should go home. And then the next minute, this same person is nominated pending the approval of the Council of State to the position of governor of the central bank. A very powerful position. You say that
the first thing, Elton, the first thing they should know, why have they delayed for nearly 5 years and couldn't prosecute him? If there was a case of substance, an issue, they could have done that. You see, they could have done that. And because I am sure the Attorney General, Dr. Ayani, in less than no time, he will tell you that there is no case. Because you see, you had all the time, the years, the months, the days, and you could not even prosecute him. Why? Go back to Bank of Ghana and ask them, do they have any case to prosecute him which they couldn't prosecute? You don't make noise when you had the opportunity to do whether it's the right thing or right. You didn't do it. And then you go back and make noise. I call it noise. Let me make this position clear. The country is not in a good position. This afternoon, they say Ghana and Nigeria are going to suffer 2025-25. Go and read the Lodge and Tuch report.
Right.
Now, who caused that? You cause something, you cause mess, and then you come back and pretend as if you're doing a job. You see, in other jurisdictions, let me say, in Brazil, people would have gone to prison for what has happened to us. And they go back and make a lot of noise. I am not a politician. I am academia and a practitioner. And I'm telling you that the way we have been treated and dealt with over the last 5 years, with a big ghetto hand, let them calm down. Let them calm down and let us begin to think how we solve the problem. Instead of you helping to solve the problem, you're making unnecessary noise. Let me tell the politicians, you're making unnecessary noise. Because in this jurisdiction, you have bankrupted the nation. You have bankrupted the nation. We cannot live. Then somebody give you a relief of 2.5 billion. We hear some politicians saying that that is a good work of you. But who goes on? If you borrow and put it in productive use, we wouldn't be where we are.
And
so let them, Ghanaians, let us stay focused, and at least let us the transition and all these things get over so that we can tackle the problem ahead of us. The problem ahead of us is so huge for people making noise. Yet some of them are making noise.
So this noise, you think will not impact the IMF in any way, in the way?
No way.
They want to do
no way.
Isiama.
I mean, let me even ask you. The IMF, were they not present in Ghana when the country was being destroyed? They were here when people were borrowing from left and right, domestic, external, bilateral. They look at us and they laugh at us. So IMF will not be worried because the latest report in December 25th, go and read the status of Ghana. 25th December. If you read that report, people wouldn't talk. They have already done the budget for us from 2025 to 2029.
Right.
And if you see the figures, you begin to say, hey, how are we going to survive? Debt servicing alone takes over 50% of the revenue projected of 200 and something billion. Instead of we staying focused and being all contributing, being contribution to all how we can solve the problem, let us not talk about these trivial issues. The IMF, I can tell you, will never say they won't. Somebody has to be in the seat. The second deputy is gone. Who knows the fate of the third deputy? So do we want us to leave the Bank of Ghana unattended?
Let me ask a final question, Dr. China. So what personally do you expect from Dr. Isiama as he moves to ensure fiscal discipline, knowing very well the precarious situation that we find ourselves in?
The fiscal discipline comes from the finance. And the monetary discipline comes from the Bank of Ghana.
Yes, the monetary amendment, yes.
Yeah. The fiscal discipline, let me add the two, because we were not fiscally disciplined. That is why we monetize government expenditure,
right.
And the inflation is hitting where we are. Dr. Addison, Dr. Siama, the matter ahead is huge. Huge. I'm telling you, it's no joke. Because he has to, Bank of Ghana himself hasn't got the capital. If you realize, Bank of Ghana hasn't got the capital. They just said, I signed an MOU with the IMF and the Minister of Finance, I think, June, how we can recapitalize Bank of Ghana. How can you have a central bank which is capital deficient? So his first start to see how can the government go around with the IMF and the World Bank to help us to recapitalize the central bank. And when you come to the industry, Elton, when you come to the industry, if I were to enumerate the challenges in the banking sector, I don't think I would like to take the seat. There are so many problems in the industry. So much problems. Look, we have been dealing with non-performing. Elton, from 2014 up to as I speak to you, Ghana non-performing is way out of hand, the whole West Africa.
Non-performing loans.
Non-performing loans. It's out of way. And how do you do? The banks, especially the local banks or the Ghanaian domestic banks or the what we call the local banks,
right.
Indigenous banks. The little you write, the little you talk about them, the better. They only exist on paper. Most of them exist on paper. The assets are gone because they've gone to participate in government contracts. Mr. Kwame Government, I don't know, the Minister of Roads.
Yeah,
when he made a statement, people didn't listen to him. He said that when I came to the Minister of Roads, government is owing 20 billion to contractors, 15 billion to road fund. And then Energy Minister just said that Ghana, our energy debt is $3 billion. All this has translated into the higher non-performing starting from 2014 to today. But instead of them telling us that government has not been paying, they say non-performing is going up. So Dr. Siama had to find a means or a way where we could address this non-performing, which is killing the Ghanaian banks. Then regulatory lapses. Bank of Ghana itself is a corporate because they were so regulatory forbearances, poor supervision, so many things over here. So he is not going to have it easy. But if he can surround himself with powerful knowledge people who understand the project, the banking sector, he will be able to go through.
All right.
Because we have had experiences in the 1980s, things up. If you were born, things up. Financial sector, I just with 1 and 2. Dr. Kwesi Boche, Dr. Gama, Dr. Kabra before. They were in Bank of Ghana, especially Dr. Kabra before and Dr. Agama. Dr. Kabra before is a well-experienced professional banker, economist and a banker. So when he got that project, you will be very surprised. Within 3 years, the banking sector was going up. So I'm saying that he needs people, like-minded people who do understand. They have knowledge who can help him to apply because the sector is nothing to write home about.
Right. We'll leave it here.
The sector is nothing to write home about, especially the local 9 bank.
Dr. Chang, we'll leave it here. Thank you so much for your time this afternoon here on the pause. Before we take our first break, there is some good news for some individuals because President Mahama has nominated 13 more persons as deputy ministers to various ministries. This was captured in the statement signed by the acting spokesperson to the president, Felix Kwachofo. So let me bring you what it says. So we have the current ministerial appointments, 55. 5 are standing because President Mahama says that he won't go beyond 60. So 60 is the limit. So these are the individuals nominated as deputy ministers, subject to parliamentary approval, vetting and approval. So we have Thomas Nyakwampim as deputy minister designate, Ministry of Finance. Dr. Clement Apak, deputy minister designate for the Ministry of Education, an area that he is very familiar with. He served as deputy ranking in the 8th Parliament, and he's been a lecturer, and he's had a lot of buy-in in the Ministry of Education. Al-Hassan Sohini as Deputy Minister Designate for Roads and Highways. Also, Justice Remsai, Deputy Minister Designate for the Office of the Attorney General and Minister of Justice. There is also a first-timer in Parliament representing the people of Ayawaso West Wogon, John Domelo, a farmer himself, and now deputized as designate for the Ministry of Food and Agriculture. That's John Domelo. And there is also Gizatete Amutui for the Ministry of Works, Housing and Water Resources as Deputy Minister Designate. There is Ebenezer Oklite Telabi, is once served as Deputy Minister of Defense in the Mahama administration, and now been moved to the Interior Ministry as Deputy Minister Designate. There is Ernest Bojajamfi, former regional youth organizer in the Ashanti region. He contested the national youth leadership of the NDC but lost to Pablo, but he's found favor with President John Mahama, nominated to the Ministry of Defense as Deputy Minister. There is Richard Jan Mensah, Ministry of Energy and Green Transition as Deputy Minister Designate. There's also Yusuf Suleimana from John Mahama's hometown. He's the MP for Bole Bamboy. He is going also to the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources as Deputy Minister. Rita Sowa for the Local Government Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs. Deputy Yusuf Isaka Jaja, Ministry of Tourism, Culture and Creative as Deputy Minister Designate. And then finally, my very good friend, former Works and Housing Minister, he's been an MP for Bodi for so many years, Samson Ahi for the Trade, Agribusiness and Industry. So this is the first batch of deputy ministers. There are 10 ministries that these individuals have been nominated to go and serve as deputy to their ministers. The list, shortly, the Appointments Committee would, so these are the ministries that will have yet to, ministries without deputies so far. That is if we have told that this is the first batch, so there will be a second batch. So we have Ministry of Health, Ministry of Sports and Recreation, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Ministry of Communication, Ministry of Environment, there's also Science and Technology there, Ministry of Gender, Ministry of Labor, Ministry of Fisheries, Ministry of Transport, Ministry of Youth Development. So these are ministries with our deputies, but there are 5 more deputies to be named. And so out of the 10, 5 more will have deputies, the others may not. That is if President Mahama stick to his pledge to have 60 ministers. So this is the breaking news this afternoon. These members will have to appear before the Appointments Committee for vetting and then subsequent approval or otherwise by Parliament. We'll take a short break here on the pause. When we return, we'll talk about water and why you are not getting it. Welcome back. This is the pause here on Joy News, also available on all our social media handles, on YouTube, on X Spaces, of course, on Facebook, and of course on myjoyonline.com. Now let's embark on a nationwide tour right here on the pause this afternoon, because reports indicate water scarcity in parts of the country. They say water is life, but some people are not getting it. Now here in the Greater Accra region, Greater Kumasi, taps have run dry. Residents in Tafo, a nearby community, rely on underground water for household use. Even though the Ghana Water Company Limited denies an acute shortage, they blame power fluctuations for the disrupting water production and distribution in the affected communities in the region. My colleague Emmanuel Bright-Kweku joins me from Kumasi with details on this. So, Emmanuel, you're welcome to the pause. So, how widespread is this in Kumasi especially? Emmanuel, if you can hear me, if you can unmute so that we can get to understand the situation better in the Ashanti regional capital, Kumasi. How bad is the situation of water supply in the region? Well, Emmanuel, if you can hear me, I'm asking about the water situation in Kumasi and its suburbs. How bad is the supply issue?
All right, so Elton, as we speak now, For Kumasi, you understand that some places, I'm talking about the Tafo area still, there is a water supply cut in that particular enclave. You understand that
Tafo, when you say Tafo, is it old or new?
The Tafo area, the old Tafo area.
All right.
Yes, please. And so for that particular enclave, it normally comes in the evening. And even Santasi, I understand that it normally comes in the evening. So usually you would expect the residents or even water consumers wake up early, very early at dawn to get water. And usually it's these kids too, the kids who normally go queue up at the stations or the water and the taps to get water, and then for their families and even themselves as they prepare for school. And so the water situation, even personally, myself, it was just on Monday that I have water running through my tap. So from Friday through to Monday during the day, there was no water flowing. But I understand that in certain areas like the Tapo and Santana still, they are having some water shortages. And with my engagement with the Ghana Water Limited, I understand that it was due to the intermittent power cut that has hit the region as we speak now. So for some few weeks now, we are having some intermittent power cuts in the Ashanti region. So at least you would expect that in a day you should, your light to go off at least twice in a day. And from the Water Limited, they tell me that because they are having limited power supply to the water treatment plants in the region, they are unable to produce water, and even the distribution is also a challenge. And also, I also picked up that in certain areas like the Swami area, and there was a patch burst, and so they have, the Ghana Water Limited, they have tried to resolve that issue, and hopefully these residents in the Swami enclave should expect water flowing through their taps. So Elton, when it comes to the Ashanti region, is because of the intermittent power cut. That's why we are having a challenge with water supply, Elton.
Before we listen to the residents, so the water company explanation is that they are helpless. They can only supply if there's reliable power supply. Is that what they are saying?
So from what I gathered from them, they told me that because there is an intermittent power supply, the distribution of the water becomes a challenge, and even the production itself at the water treatment end is a real challenge, because they will need the constant power supply to actually produce the water and then ensure same of its distribution to the greater Kumasi metropolis. And so if there isn't constant supply of energy or power, it will be a bit of a challenge distributing water to the various homes that we have in the region, Elton.
So let's understand how this is impacting on residents in parts of Kumasi.
Okay, so Elton, in the part
because of the water situation, the kids are unable to go to school early.
The challenge back when saying, oh, bad 2 weeks. 2 weeks. And so anyone did, how can see a pan? If you say, I'm going to go to school in them. Lights no more do so because of in the pipe.
The government should do something about the power situation, which is impacting the water flow.
In the best man paying, sell light off on West Africa, and which is a pint of one, but maybe I'm one and win ya me. And which say lights in a pa, Yaman Ukraine, and then the way I see pipe, we are no one talk at you. The Salama, when your lights will be my. I'm buying solo, a boy at a tip.
We are unable to get water to bathe because it's intermittent. We have to trek before we can get water.
Eko say sanso aye bre eko be 2 weeks ni na tafuye nyansuo ana ahanso nya baabi a amanfo tutututu borehole.
It's been 2 weeks now that we residents at Tafo have been able to get water. This place doesn't readily have homes constructing boreholes, so water is a real challenge for us.
Said e be ya obi nso kwa ahohiahia mu wonsuo ho a ebe ma na nya nsuo ni bi so ho nti ahokyere de kobi mu pa eza hanya pa teta nya papi a obi atunu ha ya na nka ya bra ye nso kopa ese me na ya me ya se obi ba na mapa no twa no akasa ba kwa be na chichi se do nya akono wonko
So those are some residents of Kumasi in the Ashanti region, some parts of Kumasi, and they are complaining about the intermittent supply of water, and they blame it on they are not getting electricity and they are also not getting water. Ghana Water Company says because ECG supplies become intermittent, that's the reason why they are unable to supply on a daily basis. Let me take you to the Volta region because they are also experiencing their taps have run dry because of a challenge with a pump head at Kwebe. Let's go over to the region to speak to our correspondent, Fred Kwame Asari, for more. So, Kwame, I have some friends in the Volta region, and over the weekend, they told me for almost a week now, they've not had water. How bad is the situation? Fred, if you can unmute for me so we can hear you.
The situation is very bad here in the Volta region, I should say. About 2 or 3 years now, the Ghana Water Company Limited has been rationing water in some parts of the Volta region and as well the Volta regional capital. Early this year, in January 2025, I think the first week of January, they had some fault at the water station in Beve where the pump head ran faulty, so they had to repair it, and then it caused shortfall in supply in the region, right. Especially the Volta region, the whole municipality, the whole West District, and some parts of the Southern District. So this led to severe water shortage in this catchment areas where residents fall on other sources of water, especially boreholes, and then wells and other sources of water. So the residents have been complaining bitterly about this incident, and then also it has been recorded that there is increase in population, or the demand for supply of water from the Ghana Water Company is not meeting the demands of residents. Hence, they are unable to give them enough supply of water.
Right.
So after the pump head ran faulty, they repaired it, and then we had water for about 2 or 3 weeks, and then again it ran faulty. So in this year, within the first month of this year alone, the pump head has defaulted or run faulty for about 3 times. Currently, they are still repairing the pump head, and then they have not communicated to residents as to when the repair works will be completed. So in that regard, people who own boreholes or sell water took advantage of the situation and then are milking in. They have increased the sales of water. For instance, if they used to sell a bucket of water for 1 cedi, they decided to put 20 pesos on it and then sell it at 1 cedi, 20 pesos. And then also people who used to run tricycle businesses or convey goods with their tricycle decided to convey the tricycles into water supply stations where they buy water tanks and then place it in the tricycle and then buy water at the wholesales or at the borehole points and then sell to residents. They buy the water between 10 and 20 cedis and then sell it at 80 to 200 cedis, depending on the distance and where your house is. So this has also caused some financial burden to residents. So what all they are saying is that the Ghana Water Company should be up and should repair the pump head at the water station very early so that they can be able to supply them water. Right. Also, some parts of I should say about a year now, yesterday I was speaking to a resident who told me that for about a year now they have not had supply of water, not a single drop of water through their pipes, through their tap for about a year now. So the situation is very dire here in the Volta region, specifically in the whole municipality and then the regional capital rule.
All right, thank you very much, Fred Kwame Asari. Let me take you to the northern regional capital where Martina Bugri joins me for an update of the water situation in the Tamale metropolis. Martina, I remember last year the Member of Parliament for Tamale South, now Education Minister, read a statement on the floor of Parliament demanding urgent action to address the water situation in the Tamale metropolis. Has there been any improvement from that time up until now? What is the situation today?
I would say that nothing has changed. It's the same old story that every year when it is the dry season, we have water crisis from every community that you visit. Just a few probably would be able to have water in their communities. and that is since dam and well. So we, as a water situation, they're not integrated. It has always been like machines that were serviced P5 very much that are operating and supplying water to people in the So it means that they didn't have room, the supply, and that's why we also have used of farm with the Ghana water facility affect water. Now, when you complete the whole side of staff or they don't even think that the price is necessary. All they want is their dam drain so that they can at least have water all through the year. That's how bad it is. They think that, okay, let's say if we depend on this, but let's have it a sustained way so that we can always have water.
I'm curious to know what the Ghana Water Company is saying about improving access.
It has always been difficult getting them to speak on their plans to expand or work on their machine. Very difficult. We even tried a week ago, 3 days ago, to actually get them to speak on some of these things. It was difficult.
All right.
But what we do know is that the machines are too old and do not really live up to the modern standard. That's one. They are also breakdown as well, and other issues that really make it difficult for them to be able to supply water the entire town. So you have them rationing water maybe once or twice every week to some communities, but some communities haven't had water. Some are saying up to 3 years.
Up to 2 years.
My area like this, for 1 year now, we haven't had water around to ourselves.
All right, let's leave it here. Let me take you to Tema and understand what the situation is. Community 25 Residents Association. They've also been battling with water issues for some time now. Frema Abaya Wuni is an executive with this in Tema. So we have him. We have here on the line for an update on this matter. So, tell us about this situation of water supply in parts of Tema, and whether there has been assurance that this will improve anytime soon.
And its enclave, we've been having a whole lot of issues with water for some time, especially in the dry seasons like this, from about November last year till now. You keep on getting water bills. Meanwhile, there's no water flowing through the taps. And then the water comes, if you are lucky, it comes once every 2 weeks. And the pressure is very low. For instance, I have a school in there, and the situation is so bad, we always have to buy water.
Right.
Because with a lot of children around, you cannot afford not to have water. Any least mistake, you end up with a cholera outbreak or whatever.
And there's already an outbreak.
Exactly. And the Ghana Water people, they formed a group, they did a platform for us to give them information, to give them feedback. And we don't even know why they created that platform. Because the information which we give them, that is, there's a burst pipe, there's something, then they work at it. But when it comes to know when we are getting water, for example, today is Wednesday. They may tell you water will come on Friday. You would spend the whole night just guarding the water to see whether you get water. Nothing comes out, and nobody will call to apologize. And that is the situation we have in Community 25. I can give you exactly the area I'm talking about. If anybody knows Community 25, where the thermal plant is, from the Goodness Filling Station, the Able Academy School, all the way from the 25 all the way running through the Peaceby Junction, even to the Death Traco. All that enclave left and right, which means on the south side of it or on the north side of it, we are all suffering from water shortage.
So let me ask, in the midst of cholera outbreak, and you are not getting from the main source, that's Ghana Water Company, do you trust the source of the water you buy? Now that you say that you run a school, so meaning that the kids may have access to water, but do you trust the source of the water you buy?
We get the water. There are these tankers who go around. It's become a business for some people. And there are these tankers who go all the way to Tema, to the runabout, the Valco runabout. They have these standpipes there. That is where they get the water and bring to us.
Okay.
And so if you are lucky, you get a tanker from 650 Ghana cedis and above. Okay. They have these other smaller white containers which they sell, and that is for emergency purpose. And I think those ones are going for about either 100 cedis or but we cannot buy that. We cannot afford to buy those smaller ones because of the children.
All right.
And so all the time we have to buy this water. And we don't know. Ghana Water, the pressure is low. We've complained severally. We've told them they should come and check the pipe to tell us exactly what the problem is. And we are not just getting any proper feedback from them.
Right, we'll leave it here. In fact, we're hoping to wrap up this conversation with representatives from Ghana Water Company, but they are unavailable as of now. So we'll leave it here. But with the hope that tomorrow they may be available to provide reasons why communities here in the parts of Greater Accra region, the Ashanti region, the Volta, the Northern region, are having their taps run dry. And the remedial measures to contain it as they scale up work to ensure portable supply of water across the country. This is the pulse here on Joy News. We'll take a short break and return with more. Welcome back. This is the pulse here on Joy News. Now, we're going to talk about something very important. We are still in the dry season. Very soon, we're going to enter into the rain season. And the most distressing part of rains is that if your roof is leaking, well, you know what that is. But there's a solution to this. And it's the reason why my next guest in the studio is going to help us to understand what this solution is about and how easy is it. It can help you deal with a leaking roof. So Stephanie joins me in studio from Easy Waterproof. Stephanie, you're welcome.
Thank you.
So Easy Waterproof, let me tell us more about it.
Okay. So basically, Easy Waterproof paint is a paint that we've produced to solve all leakage problems. Leakage in terms of roofings, in terms of walls, in terms of, let's say, the entire building. So this is a paint that solves leakages from your roofs to the walls to the floors. That's what Easy Waterproof does.
And it will not matter what kind of material you use for your roofing?
Not at all.
Wood, roofing sheet, whatever.
Sheet, cement, asbestos, any type of roof and any type of building, it works on it.
How does it work?
Okay, so before we do the application, we would have to do a thorough cleaning on the surface, proper cleaning. It's unlike you applying the other paints and you just do sandpaper. And this, you need to do properly, wash it, and then leave it to properly dry. And then we do the first application, which is usually very light. And then after we wait for like a full day, so it dries, and then we do the second application.
Okay.
I brought this basket with me. So when you look at the basket, you see that you can see
around the
just
basket.
around the basket.
Yes, and
this
I'm
is
sure
the damp
my camera can capture it very well for
so that
our
is the
viewers
damp
to see.
proof. That is the first coat. It's usually very light, so you don't see that much. But the second coat is thicker, and when it goes on your walls, that is how it protects it. Because you know we have this adage: you can use the basket to fetch
at
water.
All.
Yes. So,
but you are disproving that.
Yes. we need to have a pro max of that proverb. So this is how Easy Waterproof works on the surface of your homes.
And we're going to see a demonstration very soon.
Very soon, when it's applied. So this can be done on the roof. It can go on the walls. It can go on the floor. You see, it has two sides. It has the very shiny side of it. That's another beautiful secret that comes with the waterproof after it's been applied. So this is how it is. And it's just the paint which is in here.
In here.
And that's exactly what goes on your walls.
It means that this paint is a special paint.
Very special paint.
It's different from what you see in the market. So somebody, when you're just after watching you go and buy a paint and decide to now repaint the roof to prevent leakages. You are saying that this is a special paint.
This is a special paint.
I mean, it's gone through some experimentation and it came out right.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So I see it's on the inside and on the outside, meaning that if you have if you are experiencing leakages, you have to do it on the outside and in the inside. Is that what it is?
The nicest thing about this product is it works both inside and outside. So that is how we do the application. We do it inside and outside. And for the inside or the outside, after the waterproof has been applied, you can either, you see the basket is shining inside. That is the acrylic semi-gloss that has been applied as a finishing. It's just like this nice makeup on my face, the powdering one. So that is the semi-gloss on it. So if it's on the roofs or the walls, you can either choose this shiny finishing, that is acrylic semi-gloss, or you can choose the matte, which is the milder acrylic on top of that. If you can't do that, you can still have the easy waterproof in a specific color of your choice. And it works that way too.
Okay. Now, let's subject this to a demonstration.
Good.
Let's test it and see whether it can hold the water or there will be leakages.
Okay. All right, Theresa, join me. Let's do the demonstration.
So what exactly will Theresa do?
Theresa is coming to pour water in this basket. And then we will see whether your table will get any leakages. And it's water.
Okay.
It's just water. You can have a look at it.
Yes.
Yes. So it's water in there.
And we have to lift it to see whether water is leaking under. And there's none.
Theresa will hold it.
Okay, well, that's nice. So obviously, our grandmothers owe us an unqualified apology.
Very much.
Getting the impression that you cannot fetch water with a basket.
Yes.
Here we are disproving that. Well, this is interesting.
And it works. If you have swimming pools that leaks, you can use them in. If you have water tanks that have leakage, you can use them in. If you have, even the places are tiled and you still have that dampiness or water seeping through, we can still use that.
It's not only about roofing.
No, not just about roofing. I would say it's basically the entire building.
So, for example, if you have a water storage tank and and there's some leakage, you can actually apply this.
We can,
and it will still be safe to use it for whatever you want to use the water for.
Very safe. Actually, we have a very big basket than this one in the office, and we have fish in them. We use just the waterproof to do it, and we have fish in them. We've worked on big places. There are swimming pools and things. We finish with the waterproofing. Water goes in, people still swimming.
People are asking about the application process.
Okay.
And how you get to the point where you can sleep soundly without being worried about a leaking roof.
A leaking roof. So the first thing we would have to do is the cleaning. Proper cleaning, please.
Of the facility.
Of the
house, whatever.
The house, whatever surface that we are going to apply the waterproof. It has to be properly cleaned. No dust, no dirt, nothing. And very dry. Once it's dry, we are good to do the first application, which goes in a very lighter shade. Then we will wait for 24 hours for it to dry, and then we do the second application. So someone was asking me, what if we do the first application and it rains?
Right.
Good. So it means we would have to wait for it to be very dried again.
Before you can do it.
Before we can do the other application. All we need is a dry surface to do the application.
So when this is done, how long will this last?
It lasts forever.
Forever.
Once it's done the correct way, that's it. Your house is there, nicely shaped. If when it's indoors and you have children or maybe oil and other things messing it, once it's dirty, you just use some, damping cloth and soapy water and clean it. When it's outside, You can use your water hose, or when it rains, it just washes the dirt, and it's just like this. Every day when I have to go for interviews, I just wash my basket because of the dust and everything, and it's clean.
So let's say for a 4-bedroom house, and the person is facing this challenge, how much would a person require to have this product or this thing done? Is it within the expenditure of the average Ghanaian?
Oh yes, it's very affordable. And what we do is, once we have any clients coming to us with a leakage problem, we send our expert painters to go do a thorough check of the place, see approximately what the person needs, and then we sit down and then we work on it. Most of the times we would work a very nice plan for you so that the payment will be good for you, it will be good for the company as well. If you don't have painters, we'll bring our own painters to come and do it also for you. But it wouldn't cost like you having to bring another painter to do it. It comes at a very subsidized price.
And this can be applied to every building?
Every building, every building.
So in case one wants to get in touch with you, what will be the process?
Okay, so our office is at Beka Junction. We're just beside Peace FM, and then opposite the Allied Filling Station. But you can give us a call on 0243 707696. 0243 707696. Any part of Ghana or even outside of Ghana, that wherever you are and you have this problem, kindly call us. The number I gave is also on WhatsApp. So you can give us a voice note, or you can send us a picture of how your problem looks like. We'll send somebody wherever you are for them to have a check on it. If you want us to do a delivery, we'll gladly do that as well.
But you recommend that they come to you, you assess the facility, and then you can offer the needed technical advice and all that.
Exactly.
Apart from that, are there other products that waterproofing is engaged in?
Yes. So somebody was asking if your house doesn't leak, can you still apply it? Yes, you can. Because you see, we have a lot of homes that you end up painting maybe after every 3 months or after every 6 months. Now, these are times that are a little very hard. You want to save some money as well. So if you were left to me alone, which I'll gladly urge every Ghanaian to do, we want you to save money. It doesn't matter if you have a roof, a roof or a house that is leaking. Come and get easy waterproof, come and get easy acrylic paints, and then save your house.
Again, where are you?
We are at Beka Junction. We are just adjacent to the Allied Filling Station and just opposite Peace FM.
Let's again lift the basket to see if our water is still safe in there.
Okay, so Tess, that's it.
Of course.
Or you want Tess to carry it on her hair so that we see that.
The place is as dry as it was before, meaning that...
That is how it works on the surfaces. Once it's correctly, the thing is correctly applied. Once it's correctly applied, that is how safe you are.
Stephen, your final words before we go.
Okay, so we are in the rainy seasons now, and please save yourself. Use easy waterproof before you get some very nice visitors in your home and you get embarrassed because there's a leakage somewhere. Come to us. Let's talk. Let's help you solve that leakage problem.
Thank you so much, Stephanie, for coming through.
Thank you, Elton.
Here on The Pulse, we've been talking about waterproofing system that they have developed, and we tested it and it worked to perfection. Well, we'll leave it here for now, but there's more stories on myjoyonline.com. If you check there, so many stories. There are also stories coming up on Top Story and on News Night on Joy 99.7 FM. There's also Joy News Prime at 7 p.m. here on Joy News that you can stay tuned for the developing stories that is happening in Parliament and across the country. Whatever you are up to in the hours ahead, I hope is profitable. My name is Elton Brobe. Have a good evening and take care.